still playing catch-up this week as I got knocked on my butt earlier this week with something that kind of ran through the house here. So we recorded this on Thursday just about dinner time. So feeling good today, getting a chance to chat with a guy that I haven't talked with. And, man, it was way before 2020, back in the old Doug's Dirt Diary days. Tony Farone is 53 years old. He runs a business called Tony's Concession, so he knows the food business very, very well. Does a lot of the fairs and almost like a food truck kind of thing. He did something before this last week, and he never did before. Switched his track to Albany Saratoga, and he picked up his first win ever at the track. It's win number 18 for him in 27 years. So let's head out to Rotterdam. You guys know where that is. Tony Farone joins us here today. Tony, how you been?
Good, Doug. Thanks for having us. Appreciate it.
Appreciate you working me in, man, because Tony and I have been talking about this for a couple of days. We were finally able to coordinate everything today. So how good do you feel this week, not only to pick up career win number 18, but do it at Albany Saratoga?
Oh, man, I just I didn't believe it until I got the check in the mail and I got the area auto racing news with it. So I had to look it up and see myself, yeah, it was unbelievable. I mean, the car's been good the last 3 weeks, and we had a power steering issue last week, put us 27th. So it helped. We were starting up front, and we only had one caution, but my crew and some other people told me we had a pretty good car, and I looked at the lap times, and we were pretty good. So I mean, I don't know if we could have started 18th and got to the win,
right.
But I'm figuring the top 3 rows we might have had a really good shot at it.
So did we lead every lap?
Yeah, we did. We actually had a perfect night. We had 8 laps in the heat, won the heat, and then we led 20 laps in the feature. So yeah, it was pretty cool, and something that never ever happened. That I can even remember, and maybe it did, maybe it didn't, but when we went across the scales, we were a certain weight, and then we went across the scales for the feature, we were a certain weight, the same weight. And, talk about balanced race cars, and we added fuel and like tires and, did some other stuff, so we had a balanced race car, I guess what you say.
Yeah, because it's rare. I mean, winning the heat in the feature in one night is kind of rare in itself, but to lead every lap, that's when you go, all right, this is about, I could not have asked for a better night.
Yeah, no, other than driving in the back of a lap car with 3 to go, and that was just me, trying to get to the mark that he was there at, and basically driving, on my radiator cap rather than looking ahead, and I thought I was cleared, and I just caught the left front a little bit, and got him a little loose, and he was pretty good in the sense that as soon as we went down the back straightaway, he kind of slid up and let me drive underneath him.
Because that is one of the biggest things, and especially with newer drivers, when you're out front and you're sitting there going, man, somebody's got to be with me, and you catch those cars, that's when I think patience, let's say patiently aggressive. How's that?
Yeah, I mean, with these 20 lap, 25 lap short races, you got to be up on the wheel the whole time, so you got to keep going, and regardless if you got a 0.3 of a second lead or a 3 car length lead, you got to just keep pushing it, and you just never know. But usually, sometimes, and I don't know where the photographers stand, but you can kind of start seeing flashes.
Yes.
When guys are coming on you. You know what I mean? So that's one of the indications that I use, that I have used before. You know what I mean? That you might want to pick it up, or you might want to move around a little bit, see if you can find a little better groove.
And I remember the first time I heard that, and the guy who told me that, it was Alan Johnson. I can't remember what track it was, but I remember him telling me, because I was like, all of a sudden it seemed like you picked it up. How did you know somebody was on you? And he said, I saw the photographers all of a sudden start taking pictures of me. He says, and they don't take single shots. They're looking for a couple of cars. He said, so I knew somebody was on me. That's something I don't think maybe that everybody realizes, do they?
No, I mean, I don't know. I've talked to a couple drivers and stuff like that. But that's more old school stuff. You got to remember, I've been around for a while, so I grew up with some old school guys.
Experience matters.
Yeah, that had those tricks in their sleeve that they would pass along down the road to us younger guys back in the day, and hopefully we can do that to some of the young guys. But some of these young kids are just they're fast right out of the box. It's unbelievable how good everyone's equipment is.
Well, also, one of the other things I think with these young kids is iRacing, because you can go out there, turn laps, and get a rhythm, and the next thing you know what you're doing, right?
Yeah. I mean, maybe that would have helped if there was an Albany Saratoga iRacing thing that I could have, not that I iRaced, but I could have practiced on or something like that.
Well, Weed Sport's about the only track that's somewhat close to it, with the curved backstretch, because Albany Saratoga is a little like Weed Sport, a little like Brewerton, but different, right?
I've never raced. I've been to those 2 tracks. I've never raced them.
Okay.
Believe it or not, it's a straightaway. There's really not a turn to it. I mean, you come out and you do go up. I mean, what I noticed is it's narrow.
Yes.
And I didn't realize how narrow it was. Coming from Fonda, big
There was
wide
room all over the
miles,
place. Yeah.
You know what I mean? So it just seems like so that means you got to be as aggressive as you possibly can. Fonda, you get a little bit of time to relax here and there,
Mm-hmm.
you know what I mean, and think about your next move. But there you gotta be on it.
How did you know? How quickly did it take you where the groove was? Because one of the biggest things, because the backstretch is not straight at Albany Saratoga, is where to go. Obviously, you picked that up quickly.
Well, the week before and the week before that, I kind of got into the feature, and they've had 60 cars and 50 cars the last 3 weeks, so they were fortunate enough to split the features. So they would have sent 20, 25, 30 guys home. And
So they had two sportsman features last week.
2 sportsman features,
Gotcha.
yes. They've had it the last 3 weeks.
What a terrible problem to have, huh? For the racetrack, right?
Yeah, 46 or 48 last week. So it was,
Wow.
it's tough to send 24 guys home.
Yeah.
You know what I mean, or whatever it is. So I kind of got in the week prior to the 10 laps I ran. I got a chance to run behind Timmy Hartman's, really good shoe there.
Mm-hmm,
and then the week before that, I got a chance to run behind the 92 Andrew Buff. So
he knows what he's doing there too. Yeah.
Yeah. So I mean, I kind of and like I said, I spent like all last year on Friday nights sitting in the grandstands, just kind of watching. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
Kind of taking notes and seeing what guys were doing, and how they're braking, and track's really big brake. You got to use a lot of brake. You know what I mean? Not used to that. So that was a big adjustment for me. It still is. I still think we can get better. The driver can. The car's pretty good right now.
Well, yeah. Well, the drivers got some wins. How long had it been since you had one?
2020.
Oh wow! So this
I'm sorry, no, 21 we got one.
21. So you're coming off a winless season. So there we go.
Yeah. No, we had last year was kind of we were just hopping around, and we didn't have our ducks in a row, our eggs in a basket. We started off at Albany Saratoga, got wrecked a couple times, and said, okay, we'll go back to Fonda, and ran Fonda, and we just didn't really have a good setup in it. Trying some different shocks, and then switching over to Hoosiers on Sunday with Glen Ridge, and it was just a mishmash things, and I think this year, we kind of said, with the business being the way it is and stuff, and my mom passing in September.
I'm sorry.
It was tough. Oh, thank you very much. Yes, it was tough. It's tough for me to get away on Saturday nights. Even when a festival gets over at 5:00, to leave at 1:30 or 2 to get to the track.
Sure.
And then to have everyone else who's with me, my wife and my son and all our people that work with us, get everything put away, get everything clean, and get everything home, and then, have to have them worry about things that I should be taking care of. Excuse me. So Saturdays has just been tough. So without the business, we can't race. So we kind of had to decide.
And most of these fairs are Saturday, and that's the big day when you're going to make your money. So
most of the I'm sitting in the office now here, like the next 3 Saturdays. Actually, next 4 Saturdays we have events. So it's and most of them get over at 5 or 6 o'clock. But unfortunately, you got to get to the track at 3:30, 4 o'clock. And before I used to be able to have someone get the car there, get it all ready, and I would just kind of bounce in and go out for warm ups. But you're not focused, you're not thinking. You're thinking, geez, did I give them enough food to get through the night with?
Right.
Do they have enough change?
And you're distracted in the back of your mind, too. Only about another minute to go, Tony. And I'm going to ask Tony to stick on the line with me after this. We're going to do a second one to point out a whole other side of this business that maybe you guys don't understand. So I wanted to give you a chance to thank your sponsors before I let you go.
Okay, great. Yeah, I'd love to thank, Electric City Taxi, West End Towing and Recovery, G&J Auto Sales, and Elmo's Speed Supply. And I can't thank my crew, Billy August, Billy Nubbs, and Larry Carpenter, and they've just been fantastic working on this thing. So it's and obviously Tony's Concessions.
Yes.
So those are who's helping us this year, and who's behind us. So hopefully we'll have a pretty good season.
Look for another one to come up here soon. And this is one for all you guys who wonder why tracks rain out and how that, the business side of racing works. You're going to want to hear this second interview. And Tony, you got time to stick around and do it, right?
Sure, sounds good.
Okay, so again, if you haven't been to Albany Saratoga, guys, you are missing something. It's worth the drive. Go on out there. Lyle DeVore prepares one of the most consistently racy tracks that you're ever going to see. Huge car counts, a lot of folks in the stands. Hit the blue E, subscribe, turn on all your notifications, and hit that thanks button if you can. Tony, you take care. I'll see you soon.
Thanks. Bye-bye.